Matt Epstein, on behalf of Goulston Storrs, I am so happy to be supporting SCI today by nominating you to be a 2020 Community Social Capitalist. Matt, you have been a pillar of pro bono legal services in the community for many, many years, and you have led Horizons for Homeless Children in their critical work through ups and downs. There are literally thousands of disadvantaged children in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts who have benefited from your work. You have played a leadership role with Beth Israel Deaconess. You have played a leadership role with Berklee College of Music, and the list goes on. So Matt, I'm just delighted to be joining today with SCI to honor you for all the work you've done and all the work you are doing for our community, and to say thank you.
I grew up on Long Island in New York, public high school, and I was, I guess, sort of a jock. Which I've tried to keep up throughout my life. Went to college and law school in Boston. During law school, my girlfriend at the time clerked here at Goulston, and she told me there were wonderful people there. So I came here after clerking for a federal judge in New Orleans in 1983, and I've been a lifer. When I came back to Boston from New Orleans, where I was clerking in 1983. One of my best friends from college had gone to Yale School of Organization and Management, and met this wonderful group of people, including Roger Brown, who's the president of Berkeley now, and his wife Linda Mason, and a friend Michael Eisenson. And Roger and Linda had founded Bright Horizons. Yeah. And they wanted to do something for kids who couldn't afford their high-priced child care centers. And along with Michael, they started Horizons in 1989. And I think I joined in 1990 and have been on the board ever since, was chair for 7 years. And that's been a really strong focus of my nonprofit contribution, both in time and philanthropy. My whole family's been engaged with that. My wife and both kids have been volunteers, and it's been really important. My kids are mixed race and adopted, which was interesting for my daughter because, every year on her birthday, my wife would say, "Oh, I wonder what Laurie, her birth mom, is thinking now." And my daughter would say, "That's interesting. Did the Red Sox win today?" So she didn't have any interest in learning about her birth family until she worked at Horizons, and she saw these young families, a lot of people of color, and she then asked my wife if we had pictures of her birth family. So it's been a big influence to get my kids to realize that there's people who don't have their advantages. As a result, my daughter is going to get an MBA in nonprofit management. So it's been good.
Made a big impact on
Yeah,
her.
I think it did. I've had other engagements. Goulston Storrs has been involved with Beth Israel Hospital for 60 years. So when they asked me if I'd like to get involved, I was a little hesitant at first because I liked smaller entities, not big organizations. But I said sure, and I really got caught up in the culture there and trying to survive in this crazy health environment. And I enjoyed that a lot. I was the chair of a board subcommittee that was involved with the healthcare, the neighborhood healthcare centers, and equity inclusion at the hospital, and I really enjoyed that for the time that I did it. Goulston Storrs is incredibly supportive of pro bono, and I always use as an example, when I was an associate, I was very busy, and I had a pro bono project that I sort of put to the side because I had all these paying clients who were calling me all the time. And the partner in charge at the time asked me where was the memo that I had to write about the pro bono project. And I said, well, I just haven't gotten to it. I've done all these other things. that was the only time I really got screamed at by a partner who said, you don't put this pro bono project to the side. It's a client like every other client, and they deserve the same kind of attention that you give to a paying client. So I said, I sort of like was a little stunned. I was getting yelled at, but it had such a positive, it made a positive impression on me that this is a place that values and encourages pro bono. It's such an ingrained part of the culture here that it makes it a great place to work. I get the most thrill and I feel the best about myself when I'm with a group of, working collaboratively with a group of people, whether it's here or for nonprofit stuff. That's where you feel the most energized, and it takes you out of yourself, I think, which is great. And you actually, when you're working and listening to people, you come up with things that you wouldn't have thought of yourself. Find like-minded people who have a variety of skills, so that what you want to execute can actually get done, and people who are willing to work hard. Part of it is just total luck in terms of the group of people you fit in with. I learned something during when I was serving as board chair at Horizons. We had a leadership change, several leadership changes in terms of the CEOs. And I realized that everyone has blind spots. We all have blind spots. And if you have a good enough friend who's willing to tell you what your blind spots are without fracturing the friendship, that is the best thing that you can find, because we don't see our own blind spots. To be productive, you have to know what your weaknesses are. Mm-hmm. Some of them people will tell you pretty frequently if they pop up, but a lot of times you could have a blind spot that could really change your ability to contribute. There's so many needs out there, I think, that you can really get lost and drown if you don't think you can make a contribution, because there's so many people who need some kind of need to get a leg up. So don't get lost in the whole morass of all the trouble out there, and just pick something. I remember reading once, I think it's in the Talmud. It says, "Save one life, save the world." So when you're young, you want to change the whole world, but as you get older, you realize, if you can just focus on, one life at a time that you can somehow improve, that'll do it for you.